I wanted to start with these words from researcher Dr. Brené Brown because they seem to name a feeling so many of us are carrying, this deep sense of disconnection. It's a feeling that's somehow both beautiful and painful, kind of like a high lonesome sound. It's that ache of being untethered, and just this deep, quiet longing for a real connection.
So in this explainer, we're going to journey through Dr. Brown's work on this exact feeling. We're going on a quest for what she calls true belonging. And the path starts in a place that might really surprise you. Yeah. It's a really unique and deep kind of loneliness, isn't it? That feeling that no matter who you're standing with, you're somehow on the outside looking in. This feeling, right here, this is the starting point for our whole journey today.
Okay, so let's get into it. To really understand where we're headed, we have to first put a name to the pain of where we are right now. And Dr. Brown gives it a name she borrowed from bluegrass music, the High Lonesome.
Now, what's so powerful about this is where it comes from. The story goes that after World War I, soldiers were coming home. They'd walk the railroad tracks in Kentucky and just let out these long, soul-shaking hollers. And they weren't just cries of pain, they were cries of freedom. A sound that was just thick with both misery and redemption. A way of taking all that individual sorrow and turning it into something that could be heard, and maybe, just maybe, even shared. That's the feeling so many of us can almost hear in the air right now.
And what Dr. Brown argues is that this high lonesome feeling, it's really a symptom of a collective spiritual crisis. Now, when she says spirituality, she's not talking about religion. She's talking about that deeply human belief that we are all inextricably connected to one another. But we've fractured that connection. You see, when we sort ourselves into our little factions and echo chambers, we're not just disagreeing anymore. We're literally turning our backs on each other. We forget that our shared humanity is the real glue, and losing that connection, that's the source of this deep collective ache.
So, if we're all so disconnected, how in the world do we find our way back to each other? Well, Dr. Brown argues that the path isn't what we think it is. To get back to connection, we first have to make the choice to enter the wilderness. And right here, this is the central paradox of all of this work. We're looking for connection, right? That feeling of being part of something bigger than ourselves. And yet, the journey doesn't begin by finding our people, it begins by finding the courage to stand completely and totally alone.
Now, this wilderness, it's not a physical place you can find on a map. It's that internal landscape, that place we go inside ourselves when we commit to our own integrity, to our own beliefs, even when, and this is the key, especially when it means we might face criticism or rejection. It's this sacred, sometimes terrifying, and ultimately freeing space where we finally get to meet who we really are.
So, the most important point is this. True belonging is not something you get from the outside. It's not something a group can give to you, and it's definitely not something they can take away from you. It's a spiritual practice. It's about belonging to yourself, first and foremost. It's the home that you build and you carry right inside your own heart.
But how do you survive a journey like that? I mean, you can't just walk into the wilderness unprepared. It demands a whole new way of being, a practice that Dr. Brown calls having a strong back, a soft front, and a wild heart.
And these three things aren't just personality traits you either have or you don't. No, they form one integrated practice. Think of them as the essential gear you have to pack to navigate all the uncertainty and vulnerability of the wilderness. It's what allows us to live from a place of real courage and love.
Okay, so the strong back. This is forged from your integrity and your boundaries. It's that grounded strength that lets you stand tall in what you believe, in your values, even when the wind is just howling around you. It's knowing what's okay and what's not okay for you, and having the courage to hold that line with both clarity and kindness. And then, at the exact same time, we need a soft front. This is our vulnerability. This is the choice to stay open to the world, open to connection and love, and yes, also to pain. It means taking off all that armor we think is protecting us, but is actually just keeping us from the very connection we're looking for.
And when we can hold both of these together, our strong back and our soft front, that's when we cultivate a wild heart. And this is the courage to be both fierce and kind, both tough and tender. It's this incredible freedom to move through the world belonging not to some faction or some ideology, but belonging fully and completely to ourselves. So this brings us to the final and honestly the most transformative part of this whole journey. This is where that huge paradox of having to stand alone to find real connection finally gets resolved. So after all of this, the question is still there, right? Where's our home?
If it's not in a group, not in a physical place, not even in another person, where do we actually truly belong?
You know, for most of her career, Dr. Brené Brown was absolutely haunted by this one quote from one of her greatest heroes, Dr. Maya Angelou. It just felt wrong, almost painful to read, because it seemed to deny the one thing we all need more than anything else.
Belonging no place. And because of that, belonging every place. I mean, for years, that idea just sounded like the ultimate loneliness to Dr. Brown. But one day, after a lifetime of research and her own personal struggles to fit in, it finally clicked. This wasn't a punishment. This was the definition of freedom.
That ache of not belonging, it's finally healed the moment we stop searching for a home outside of ourselves. The great reward that Dr. Angelou talked about is this liberation. It's the realization that you don't have to keep searching for your place in the world because you are your place.
And here it is, in her own words, the sacred conclusion to this whole quest, the ultimate destination. It isn't belonging to a group, it's belonging to yourself, with pride, with courage, and with a strong back, a soft front, and a wild, beautiful heart.
So I'll just leave you here, right at the edge of your own wilderness, with this question. What might it feel like to stop searching for a place to fit in, and instead to begin the brave journey of finally, truly belonging to yourself?